Okay, so I'm really excited to be doing this second chat with the candidate, um, mostly because I know her very well. We've had the opportunity to work on some different projects and initiatives in the past. I would like for you to welcome the lovely Rita Johnson to our candidate chat, and she is running for re-election to District 3 for the Spalding County Commission. So thank you so much for joining me, Commissioner Johnson. I wanted to do this in order for those of us in the Black community get to know you a little bit better.
Right.
To let them know you are visible, you are
yes.
out there.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, this is the time where we've been highlighting Black girl power, women leadership. And so I'm very excited that you're able to do this candidate chat with me. And so starting out, can you just tell us who is Rita Johnson? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, first I wanted to say thank you, Dr. Jones, for actually doing this forum. You know, during this pandemic, we haven't had the opportunity for people to get to know me and re-elect me again, and for me to kind of tell you why I'm seeking for this spot and why I want you to elect me and talk about some of the things that we have done. So thank you for this, because this has not been done for obvious reasons. So I appreciate you for taking the initiative. Who's Rita Johnson? So I am your District 3 representative. I've had this seat now for this is the second term. I'm going into my third term, hopefully. That is the goal. I am originally from Kentucky. I think most people do know that. If you don't, I'm born and raised in a small town called Bardstown, Kentucky, which is a lot like Griffin, Georgia. So I feel like, it's a lot like home here. I went to school at Bellarmine University, which is in Louisville, Kentucky. As we both know, a lot of things going on in Louisville right now. So I've got my finger to the pulse back home to my family there. Played basketball at Bellarmine University, graduated communications degree. From then on, got a job with State Farm Insurance, going on about August will be 29 years, October 5th. I relocated to Griffin, Georgia back in 2001, so it'll be 19 years pretty soon. Wow, as an agent. I've been a county commissioner, started in 2012, and when I got here, there was a lot of questions I had about Spalding County and Griffin that a lot of you have asked me, and a lot of things that I hope to get resolved today, which is why I took office. And basically, this is who I am, and Griffin is my home, and I consider Griffin my Griffin family, and I'm just glad to be here. So thank you.
Well, we're definitely happy to have you, especially in the capacity that you are running for re-election. So tell us exactly why you're running for re-election.
Okay, so a few things. There are a lot of loose ends that have not been tied up, and commitments and promises, that myself and the other commissioners made to the community. And that being a lot of these SPLOST projects. We were thinking and hoping that they would have been wrapped up by now, but we're coming a lot slower, but we're getting there. And I'm proud to say now that we're nearing the end of the year, these things are starting to wrap up. So I wanted to make sure that I'm still at this seat to continue the fulfillment and the promises that I've made to the community. And that being number one was the Fairmont Heritage Park project. That is a big project that is near and dear to our community, District 1, District 3, and to the community overall. The people in the community came out and really supported this SPLOST. And there was a lot of frustration with this SPLOST and getting the funding for it. And I'm very proud, as most people know that they see in the newspaper, with our partnerships with the Housing Authority and potentially ArtSpace and with the city and in different entities, that this is coming to fruition, and we're looking to break ground here soon. So this is a $7 million project, and I wasn't about to leave until we make sure that we make the promises to this community. That was the first thing, first reason. Second reason, of course, that we have the Aquatic Center. There was also a SPLOST project that we are still looking to vote on a location. This was supposed to have been done 2 or 3 years ago. We didn't expect to be sitting here still, weighing out a location, but as life would have it, we're dealing with 4 commissioners now instead of 5. Most people know that. So the vote gets a little interesting now. And, this, location gets kind of political. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, there's been various, locations been thrown out at the industrial center. The Downtown Development Authority was very, should I say, thankful that they actually offered land for this aquatic center. And ideally, that would be an opportunity for us to have it there. And so that is on the plate. Although we have some reservations about that. We're still looking to maybe do some partnership, with the city of Griffin possibly. We looked at Wyoming Tigers Park. I think that one was where I actually would like to have seen it there, since it is a park anyway with a lot of our parks and recreation. But because of spacing and location and because of where it would be put, it wasn't considered ideal. So, we had to rule that out. So, once again, I was not going to walk away until I knew that we had a viable location for that aquatic center for everyone in the community to be able to come out and enjoy it. We're getting very close to that decision. Hopefully, maybe in another month. My goal is to have it by the end of this year. So no, I wasn't going to walk away until I fulfilled that commitment. But we're getting through a lot of the other commitments right now with the animal shelter. You've probably seen, but we finally have gotten that broke ground there, and I'm excited about that. Along with the other commitments. Also, another reason why I'm would like to stay around a little bit longer is this seat is very important, and it's important that we find the right people to fill these shoes. So I kind of like to be a little bit hands-on, as far as who would actually be taking this spot. Between me having more work done and being able to possibly groom someone, when it's time for me to walk away, which would be sooner than later, because I don't believe these spots are for own. These spots are to rent and to be here to make a difference and then move on. But like I said, I didn't want to walk away without my commitments being fulfilled. So that's the reason why I'm seeking re-election.
And, I think a lot of people don't understand how most of these projects are not things that happen overnight. They do take time. Right. So we want to make sure there is some type of continuation as far as leadership is involved to see these things through.
Right.
So I definitely can understand that. And if you could take 1 minute to just explain to the community exactly what the SPLOST money is, because a lot of them, I don't think completely understand how that works as far as the funding for certain projects.
Right. So the definition of SPLOST is basically a special local option sales tax. It's money that's actually spent to people that come into the communities, that spend, money, to go toward what we do in the community. So it is a tax, that we actually have, on the dollar, for any purchases, that is actually made in the community. That's our money, and even more so people coming into the community. So, we do have to, when people think of SPLOST, it is a tax, it is, we're asking for a penny sales tax to be added in. And, we get a lot of kickback from that because people think, oh, it's another tax. But, you have to understand, especially with the county, our revenue base is property taxes. It's not a whole lot. So, in order for us to fulfill the items and the things we want to get done, yes, we're talking about park and recreation right now, but we're also talking about public safety things that we've gotten done. And there's a lot of things that the sheriff department has gotten done as a result of SPLOST dollars. Our roads, which is very important to people, we've gotten done with SPLOST. There's a lot of things we've gotten done with SPLOST, but just for that penny. So, I know we get a hard time with keep asking for that, but once again, it's money that's actually spent into this community too that we benefit from. And unfortunately, during this, I say fortunately, during an unfortunate times, this pandemic, has made people go out and purchase more things and has really increased our SPLOST revenues up so that we're able to pay for some of these projects too. So, it is difficult when you have to use the word SPLOST, and I will use the word T-SPLOST too in a lot of these situations. These are things you have to have. These are communities that do it, and they understand in order to get anything nowadays, you have to have it. So, we're looking at some of these projects that cost a whole lot of money. Like I said, Fairmont Heritage is $7 million. We've got an aquatic facility that's probably close to that right now, $5-6 million. We know that probably is coming in underfunded, so these SPLOST revenues are going to make a difference. Pickleball, as we know, which was the first one came in, was over budget as well, so the animal shelter, we were able to get that a little over, but that kind of came as close as most of these projects have. But at the end of the day, it was an obligation that we had to meet, for the community's needs, because people came out and they did vote for this. Okay, this was voted on. I want to make sure I say that. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was voted on by the community that we wanted these projects, and that's what we have done. And I was thinking, if I remember correctly, back in 2015, that vote was 60-40. So we overwhelmingly got the positive for this. So yes, That's what these funds, where they derive from, and that's what we're doing for these funds, you know, and making sure they are actually aside for the funds for the projects that people voted for. And that goes back to something that happened back in 2008, 2009, where, you know, a lot of people don't, I guess they, there was always the incentive that the monies that we actually raised from SPLOST didn't always go toward the SPLOST projects. There was a change when I came on the board, probably right when I first started, really understanding, because I came in new, learning now that whenever the SPLOST projects are passed, that you have to earmark these funds for these particular projects. So I want to make sure people understand that too, that, you know, regardless of whatever happened in the past, you know, whenever a SPLOST is passed, we mark money, we say that we're going to use this for these projects, that's what these monies have to be used toward. I want to make sure we say that people understand that no, we're not doing it, putting aside for something else. So that's why we're working so hard to get these things done.
Right. Thank you for giving that thorough explanation, because I know things can get a little bit gray with people being able to understand how these things work. And I just want to make sure that's clear. That's very clear. Okay. So can you tell me, what are some of the challenges that you have faced as a county commissioner?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, and like it does every year after year, if there's ever the knot that gets in my stomach and I lose sleep, it's that budget, you know, because that budget is very important, and it's something that's important to everyone, and it should be, because this is how we're spending your tax dollars, you know, and this budget is everything to us. Every year we have to buckle down and hone down and decide, is this the year we're going to have to and you'll raise the millage rate and increase taxes? I'm happy to say that we are not doing that this year. And I'm even happy to say there may be actually be a little rollback coming back to people. I can say that, hit the newspaper, I can say that. So I'm very happy on that. But that's not always been the case. Dr. Jones, I can actually tell you in the 8 years that I've actually been a county commissioner, I can say 2, possibly 3, that we were forced, that we had to raise the millage rate. And I can tell you in particular, what sticks out in my mind is, you know, the cost of insurance goes up, health insurance premiums. And, you know, we have, you know, employees. There's some things that we can't, what do you do? I mean, people get sick, you know, people have to go to the doctor. There's claims that have to be paid out, you know, that pays out of that pays as part of the budget. So when the insurance company comes back in, Blue Cross, and says, hey, look, we're raising the premiums this year, and because of this, you know, we've got to find the money somewhere, you know, so, you know, that's a reason why we have increased. Of course, and I have to say, because we have employees, you know, that do quality work here, okay? And we know that Griffin Spalding sometimes, you know, I know years ago was always, you know, we've got the finger pointed at us because we don't always pay the top pay or even market pay. We took that on a couple of years ago, and we did a market study of all the basically areas around us to find out, you know, how are we paying our employees, our public safety people, you know, our staff, it's the staff, the department heads. You know, how are we able to do this to make sure that we are just as equitable and fair, so that, you know, we want to keep our employees here. We don't want to have them here and then go somewhere else. So, you know, we had to do we call it pay compression, where it took over a course of maybe, I think it was 2 to 3 years study, where we had to do increases and adjustments to the pay, just to get people basically at market value, I guess, to where their pay is. So that took some time, and that took some adjustment. So I think at the first year that it did provoke an increase, but we've leveled off because, you know, of the growth that we've had in the community too, you know, with your housing and industries, you know, that we've been able to kind of offset it, so that, you know, we did not have to, you know, increase it this year. So, you know, that's usually an area where it gets very hairy, because we've got to tell the department heads too, who do very well, to, no, you can't, you know, they may have some great suggestions and ideas of what they need in their department. They do it every year, come to us and ask for an increase to do what they need to do their job. We have to tell them, well, yes, we've got to cut things. No, we can't do this, or we can see this, or no, you know, even do the judicial system, your leisure services, you know, all the departments do. So, I mean, you know, having to pick and choose, you know, what can stay and what can go, what needs to go, you know, is always a tough decision, but it's one that needs to be made. So that's the biggest challenge. That's really what the bulk of what we get paid to do, I feel. But I think we've done a very good job, because we have a very great staff that works with us in our county that's very good with crunching those numbers too, to kind of keep it so that even though we're doing the wonderful things that we're doing here with our services, you know, we're still paying what we need to pay, you know, for our employees, you know, and to take care of them. I have to say that that's a challenge. And for also what's the challenge, you know, I can say is, you know, I'm coming from, I guess, the business background and what I do with State Farm, you know, always having a way to if I can't do what you want me to do, I tend to take things very personal. I don't like to use the word, well, no, and that's it. I'm always going to try to say, well, maybe not this way, but maybe there's another way we can do this. I'm always considered someone that's about finding solutions. That's my day job. All this is my day job, should I say? But I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I feel like I move that into the county piece too, because it's kind of like, well, maybe the county can't do this, maybe we can't do this, but let's try this. And so I kind of take it upon myself to find the yes, in some of the things where I just don't want to say no, it's not possible. So that's a challenge, and that's an individual challenge that I kind of take out, because I'm my worst critic sometimes. So yeah, I'll have to say that's the toughest.
We can all be our worst critics sometimes. That is very, very true. But I'm glad that you included that with saying that, if someone is asking for how something can be done, it's just like, oh no, we can't do that.
Right.
We don't have the votes. It's no, we're going to figure out, how we can go around that and get something done, some type of solution, because that's what it should be about, is finding solutions, to problems.
And you know what, Dr. A lot of times you don't know until you ask. I mean, I'd be crazy to tell you that I knew every question somebody asked me. I mean, I'm not gonna say yes or no to everything. I don't care if I may know it or don't know it. I'm always gonna at least step out to find out, because things have been done obviously well before I got here. Maybe some things like this have happened before that we didn't know about. And how do you don't know if you don't ask and find out? So I owe it to the due diligence to at least find out first, before we move into phase 2 and say, okay, well, now that I know maybe this is not the way to do it, well, maybe there's another way to do this. So.
Right. Thank you for that. So the next thing I want to ask is, if reelected, what are some of your goals or plans that you have in getting the Black community more involved in the county government?
Okay. So, once again, this is one that I take very personal too, because, like I said, during this if I'm blessed to be, reelected, which is what I really will hope to be, I don't know what the future is going to hold, down the road. I want to get people of color, ourselves, African Americans, more involved, in the community. I'm gonna use you as a prime example because you're a great one to use. I mean, we asked you, to be appointed to the airport authority, and you jump right in and did it. We've got people in the community that we've asked, that have stepped up and said, yes, we'll do it. I've had people we've asked and said, you know what, no, Rita, I appreciate what you do, but no, and I get it, no, so but it's okay. But I'm talking actively. I'm talking, now we're in an interesting time right now. I know you know more than anything, where now is our time to get a seat at the table. So maybe be a little bit more pursuant, on my end, to say, we get a list every year in January, I should say more so in December, toward the end of the year, our first meeting in January. One of the things that the chairman will do is to go down the appointment list. We have people rolling off these boards with new appointees rolling on. We vote for these individuals. And our goal, this year is to say, what, being ahead of the game, is seeking out folks to say, we've got a few vacancies here. Where do you see yourself at? And just kind of going through. I've identified a few people in mind already, my head, that I'd like to kind of go after to say, look, you're a person that needs to be at this table, and this is why I feel you need to be, and it maybe not here, maybe there. There's ways to kind of get people involved. Now, I'm not going to arm press anybody to do it. If everybody says no, you say no. But, I'm going to make it, and I'll give Commissioner Flowers-Taylor all credit here. I mean, she really, really did from the onset of, always making sure of that, and, so I'm definitely coming right behind her, and doing it too. And other angles, not just appointees, but committees. Right. We sit on a lot of boards, organizations. Yes, we've got our appointments here, but there's other organizations, county, community appointments that we need people of color on. That I sit on many of these boards. I look across. Yes, I'll be tapping some people and say, look, you need to be, we'd like to see you here. So, that's something that I'd kind of like to work with, as far as getting more people of color, more women as well. Diversity of folks that kind of said make these decisions that shape our community, and it puts an awareness. That you need to be more aware and more, connected to your community. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to do. Another thing that I'm looking to do also, kind of sharing earlier on is, with the small business role, it's taking more of a role of maybe seeking out more, African American entrepreneurs. We've got a viable downtown area. in Griffin Spalding, there could be more businesses there. And maybe it's a matter of people having a lot of skill set that, and have it in them that just don't know how to get started. That's another reason why you need to be part of these organizations, to the main streets, the downtown councils and chambers and things like that, because there's resources and there's things that, you can have access to if you become a part of it. So I'm on those boards, so I kind of like to start seeking people out too, that I know that are interested in these things. So.
Yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out. I try to explain to people all the time that these committees and boards are extremely important, because that is kind of the beginning of where the work starts.
Right.
With trying to figure out exactly the decisions to be made for how money is going to be spent, or why this project is going to go over here and not over here, and that you guys actually receive, recommendations,
Right.
based on those different meetings to help inform your decisions. So it's extremely important, and I'm so glad that you and Commissioner Flowers-Taylor are making sure that you're going to have those of us in the community involved in those conversations. And we're trying to make it be reflective of what the actual demographics look like,
Right.
for the county, to make sure that there's inclusion in that area. So I definitely appreciate that. I really appreciate
Thank you. And thank you for your willingness as well, because whenever we've asked you, you've been there. So thank you.
There was a time like, you want me to do what? But
right. And you did it. We appreciate it. That's not an easy board to serve on.
It's true, because people don't understand that a lot of times you walk into these doors and these meetings, and there are people that don't look like you there.
No,
You're the only person at the table sometimes. So it's very important to make sure that we get those places. It is extremely important that we get those places so we can be informed of what's going on and being involved in those decisions.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So can you tell me, what are you most proud of as far as your accomplishments as an elected official for the county and for the
most proud of? Like I said, I'm gonna go back to what I said before as far as the budget, because I feel like, of the 8 years, and I'm being 3 because I'm being, liberal there, but I want to say 2, but I'll say 3, that we've actually had to increase the budget. I think that's the big deal. And, I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be working with the team. Let me say that, of people that do that. I want to make sure I say that, because, we approve the budget, we look over it, we do that. We've got some hardworking staff members that really, that's what they do day to day. So, I'm very thankful and blessed to be working with a group of individuals that also look out for the community, and it makes us proud, because, we don't do that, considering, the fact that, once again, property taxes, is our only revenue stream here we're talking about. So we don't have a whole lot to work with, so we're able to do that. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm proud of, like I said, of some of the awards that we've actually have received from various departments. Like I think about, we have our leisure services, park and recreation. I'm proud of that department. We've our Meals on Wheels, that we've done. We won awards there as far as state recognition for that. The senior centers, things like people that don't know that how we give back to the community, in those situations. I'm proud of the fact that, even though, people do understand that a lot of our budget money does go toward the sheriff's department, there, as far as a resource. We have a wonderful working relationship with our sheriff. I feel that our sheriff, does wonderful work in the community and does put this community first, and does whatever he needs to do, to make the right decision, for us. So, I'm proud, of the work that we've actually done, in the community overall, to making sure not just per district, but that everybody's being taken care of, should I say that. As far as District 3 per se, roads have always been, most people that actually come to me, like they do a lot of well, should I say at least two districts, myself and that's Bart Miller's district. I believe that's District 4, I want to say. Roads, it's a big deal, so that gets kind of political too. So every year, we have a running list of roads that need to be repaired, you know, in the area. It's like a working document that they've started for years. And it's done by priority. You know, the worst roads get done first. So, you know, we campaign and we push, you know, to have roads in our district taken care of, because we know people, that's very important to a lot of our constituents. You know, so, you know, I'm happy to say that, you know, and I know that in my Ann Street and Pamela Road areas, you know, have had their roads paved. I know that Moreland Road has had the road paved. You know, there's been a lot of areas in my district, you know, that has had the road paved, you know, that I know that's a big deal, you know, to them. And to me, I know that, you know, and I'll say that I'm proud of this, although I'm not gonna say that I'm instrumental in this, although it is in my district, is that you all, and I've seen on Facebook, but there is a dog park, you know, that is, you know, off Carver Road, that is not paid by, it's not made by funds of the county. I wanna make sure I say that. These are what we call impact fees. You know, are actually paid for these, for the work of the dog park that happens to be out in Carver Road. You know, so, I mean, I'm kind of glad that, you know, that's there. I know that that's been some communication there. You know, we have a big recycling center also off Carver Road. You know, I get a lot of calls on that, you know, making sure don't close it. Whenever you talk about closing down a recycling center, that's one way to get people, you know, to the county commissioner meeting room, you know, and, you know, but it's a good way for us to communicate with folks too, to let them know that, no, we're not closing anything. We may change some things. We may have to change some things, you know, but Carver Road being the largest, you know, I've had to have some, say, Commissioner Miller as well, of keeping the recycling centers open. So, you know, there's a lot to go into about, a lot of things that I'm actually proud of. I can only highlight a few of those in the county and in my district, you know, per se, that we actually have some control over, you know, to continue looking out for my constituents.
Yeah, I think it's important to separate those projects that are privately funded from the
right.
things that
Yes.
you have going on.
Yes.
Because no one wants to have to get beat up for something they had absolutely nothing
right.
to
or
do.
Ask, why are we doing that, or why are they paying for this, you know, and well, we're not paying, you know, you're not paying for anything, you know, so, I mean, it's especially when we're talking about the dog park per se. I mean, it's a different type of fund for that, you know, so, I mean, it's just, so, but it's good to have conversations like this so people understand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and they can separate, hey,
mm-hmm.
this was actually voted on.
Right.
This is why this project is being done. We didn't say that, you know, this is what you voted on, or
right.
community voted on to have done. So it's important that people understand,
yes.
you know, the difference. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And I'm always available, if I say this on the phone, if anybody needs to explain, you know, more in detail. And I say this, you know, because I get, you know, once again, we have 4 commissioners, not 5. So I get a lot of other phone calls from another district that come to me and say, hey, look, you know, and that's what we do. We work for the community. So if you have a question about anything, or anything particularly you want to ask one-on-one, you know where to reach us. I don't do a lot of communication via Facebook, but, you know, but I am available, you know, to be reached if anyone wants to talk to me one-on-one about it. So.
Right. And I think people do need to know that you are accessible. You do answer your phone.
I do.
answer your emails. You know, if someone needs to, you know, come and have a chat with you, you know, you're there. So they need to know that. They don't, I think people sometimes get local government confused with, you know, Congress and state, like, oh, they're always busy.
Right.
I'm going to have to talk to 5 other people before I can talk to them. But it's your local government that is what's accessible to you and what's important, because this is what you have to deal with every day walking out of your front door.
Yes.
You know, so that's very important to know.
Right.
Right. So let me ask, is there anything that you think you can do better, or you think you can improve on going into 2021 once reelected?
Yes. I mean, like I told you, I'm my worst critic sometimes, you know, like I said, you know, my goal is always to be available, you know, when I'm needed, when someone needs something, because that's the last thing you do. The first time you're not available is the last time people shut you down, and everybody thinks that you're not available. That's not the goal here. I've got 2 or 3 telephone numbers. Anybody can call me and reach me on one of them. I promise you. That's the first thing. So I always want to people know that I can, you know, available to anybody's needs. You know, my goal is to be, how I use the word, we always use in the insurance business or anywhere, but is to be proactive rather than reactive. You know, take the initiative of knowing that if something, you know, could be a potential problem or could be a potential challenge, to tackle that thing head on the onset, before it becomes an issue, and I think that's just that smart leadership. And I think that, as a group and as myself in particular, as I look at myself, could do a lot better with that. Maybe if there's something that we're discussing and that we're doing that we've it is easy to do, to put it to the side for a second, and we'll get back to that, because guess what? Right now, that's not a pressing issue, and then move on to some other things to get things done, but not always going back to address this thing right now, knowing that eventually that issue is going to come up again and we haven't tackled it, and here we are, and this issue could be a lot bigger than it was before. But had we done what we were supposed to do, then we'd be dealing with this now. So I've run into that a few times, where I've learned now to make my own self accountable. I'm not gonna hold the county accountable. I'm not gonna hold anybody accountable. I was elected here. I hold my own self accountable, and say, hey, look, make some notes here, and I think we talked about that as a working board too, to make notes and pay attention to things that we say we're going to come back to and not do it, and to make sure that they're being done, and that's more so myself holding myself accountable, because you never know who's going to be affected, in that. And, it's a matter of moving forward and not holding it back, so that's definitely an area that I feel like, that I can improve, and to put more accountability on myself when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important, and it's definitely a reflection of leadership.
Yes.
To be able to hold yourself accountable, and not try to pass off issues to someone else. It stops with you. So
right.
that's
right.
very commendable.
Yes.
To be able to admit that.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see Griffin Spalding County in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, Dr. John, I'm a very optimistic person. And once again, being able to sit on some of these boards and be a witness to some of the things that has happened over the years is a reason for me to be optimistic. I see us, first of all, moving in the right direction, because I know where we were when I started and what I've seen when I first moved here. I feel very, very comfortable and very positive about the direction we're moving. I mean, whenever you have to include more money into your budget to give to the industrial park because of more land, tells me that we've got industries that are looking to come here, and what that means. More industries means more jobs. Means more opportunities for us. Means more tax base, which means that we can share in some of this when it comes to these property taxes, so that we don't continue to have to raise taxes. I see, once again, I'm gonna go back to the original point about small businesses. We're working on the downtown city of Griffin is, but I sit on the board there of that, and I can see, what they're trying to do to revitalize the downtown, getting more businesses in there, that whenever you do that, once again, that's a growth. That's showing that you're moving in the right direction. A few things, I think about with the Heritage Park project too, in our community, it's an opportunity for an increase in our tourism too, because we're going to have people come in and to recognize, this unique, facility that we actually have here that's going to tell the story of Griffin, and there's a lot of people across the community who are going to want to come and witness this, along with everything else that we actually have in the community, so, I mean, as far as a tourist destination too. So, I mean, I feel with the collaboration of the city and the county and the school board and the other entities, in this community, that we come together and we work together, which we have really done well over the last several years. We're able to do a lot more things together and get a lot more things done. So I'm very positive and optimistic. Having the right players on the, in the seats, at the table, like we talked about, being able to make these decisions with other entities and organizations coming together. Yes, I feel positive about that. I feel we're on the right track. I do. Yeah. Despite a lot of things, I do feel. Despite.
We can talk about a lot of those all day.
Right.
But the good thing is that, yes, you can see the change.
Yes.
Happen, and you are working to change happen. That's
and seeking outside help to continue that work.
Right. That's the most important.
No time to sit on the sidelines.
Exactly. We can't afford to.
But they get in the game.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay.
Very, very true. Very important. What changes do you think we as a community need to make as a whole in progressing forward?
You know, I mean, and I'm going to use this, we talk about this, and this is one of the initiatives that, you know, has been mentioned and thrown around that we'll hear more of probably in 2021, you know, is transportation. You know, we need public transportation. You know, that's just something that's just needed. And yes, what does that mean? That means that's the word again, a SPLOST. You know, I mean, I'm just going to say the thing that probably a lot of people are not going to want to hear. You know, but that's the way of actually getting those things done. I mean, just think about it. If we have public transportation to take people to, you know, that don't have it to go to their jobs, you know, to go to the grocery store, to go to the doctor, you know, go to the hospital, whatever it is you're trying to go to. Some people that are not able to get around to the connecting areas to do it, to be able to do that, you know, is important. A lot of towns have this. You know, we don't. I think we're in a situation now that we can do this. There's a lot of things, you know, with that funding that could go toward whatever that looks like as far as the transportation is concerned. But that's definitely one of the things I'd kind of like to earmark and kind of get more into when we do talk about that in 2021, you know, if I'm fortunate enough to do that. You know, because that's something I think this community needs, you know, and I think that's something that, you know, we would all as a whole benefit from, you know, as far as transportation. And I'm open and willing to learn more once again about, you know, what other initiatives that, you know, we need to. That's one thing. Let me see also here. I think I've done a couple of things. Community relations definitely is the second. Yeah, I remember when, you know, we had the 6th Street Bridge, you know, and I think there was a crossing of that bridge. And I remember talking about how the historical that was and hearing about, you know, what life was like about years ago in Griffin, you know, how we were segregated. You know, there was across the railroad tracks, you know, on the North Hill and the South Hill, and that coming together and making that concept a big deal at that time was very warm and fuzzy. I remember that. But, you know, there's still that diversion. You know, we know that. Okay. You know, so, I mean, even with that relationship there, and the initiative is actually building that, you know, getting the North and South together once again, you know, on equal playing field, you know, and having transparent conversations, you know, and having the same benefits for everybody, you know, I mean, is also an initiative moving forward that we're going to have to deal with and to tackle, you know, but once again, it takes everybody, you know, cooperatively and collectively, you know, to make those decisions, you know, but it's something that I definitely recognize it needs to be done. I know I'm not by myself. I'm sure many people do. So it's the willingness to actually do that. So yeah, there's a transportation issue of connectivity there. And it's also the building relationships, you know, from basically North and South Hill Street, you know, coming together, you know, and having every opportunity available for everyone.
Right. I definitely agree about the transportation issue, especially if we really want to see any type of revitalization and explosive growth. You have to have the transportation infrastructure there that would support that.
Right.
So that
right.
is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with one of the things I wanted to bring up is I just thought about it, but we talked about a little bit about it when you're talking about you know, more equity and inclusion, is with these different projects that are happening, how do you think we can bridge the gap with making sure that we have MBEs or minority business enterprises that are able to also bid for those types of contracts for those projects that are going to be developed?
Okay, so there is actually, so basically a document that's actually out there, you know, that actually, you know, I mean, that we look for businesses. We always look for local, you know, definitely we would like to have more minority businesses bid for these contracts, you know, that will tell you how long you need to be in business, you know, just a criteria that this actually needs to be met. But, you know, really, whenever, you know, particularly I'll use a SPLOST project that we actually have, that's something that we were actually building now, you know, is letting us know what kind of industry, what kind of business do you have? You know, how long have you been in business? Tell us a little bit about, you know, and maybe we can actually tell you where you could sign up for some of these things, you know, to actually put your name in the hat to when it's time, you know, which we're doing a lot of these now, you know, is seeking contracts out for these that, you know, that you're in there, but just know that there is a plan out there in place for it. And that, we want more businesses, more minority businesses to be involved, but it's just a matter of having them reach out to us, and then we can obviously filter out of where you need to do to get to be part of it. Because there's plenty for everybody. We just need to do it.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll take the charge for that, because
Okay.
that's something that's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more near and dear to me when I think about everything that we have going on. And you're like, okay, so why don't we see ourselves,
Right.
and be able, and specifically, let's, talk about, what it would mean for MBE to be a part of something like the Fairmont, project,
Sure.
you
Yes.
know, something historical like that, that would be really, really awesome for an MBE to be able to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you
Yes.
for putting that information out there.
Mm-hmm.
As an African American, what do you want people to know about you?
Okay, then I'm here. Okay, and then I'm representing you. Yes, I'm representing District 3. I am. Those are the people that I want to vote for me, definitely, because I'm, as far as looking out for my constituency base and making sure that area is basically taken care of, and I'm meeting their needs is a given. But I'm here for the entire community. And as I know a lot of maybe African Americans maybe don't know a lot about me, or maybe hesitant. Although I think I've done a pretty good job, to be honest with you, Dr. Jones, as far as bridging that gap, and I've just kept on myself to do that, but there's still more, that I could do, and want people to be able to come to me, and talk to me about things that they'd like to see done, or, and people have to understand, once again, that we work for you, we're a servant to the community, so, I mean, if there's something you'd like to see different, or if, don't hesitate to reach out. And don't hesitate if there's a concern, that you need for me to look at, I'm there, I have, most people don't understand, also know that I'm a partner in education with Ann Street Elementary School. And Dr. Steve Royal, I've reached out to him, on occasion about, doing things for the school system and things like that. So my heart is near and dear, to the community, because I know, being of a generation that, that we need one another, and to bring each other up, because at the end of the day, we're not going to be here, so I want to be able to leave and feel comfortable, whoever that next generation is that's going to come in and fill the void and that moves this community on, that they have someone to look up to, they have someone that, they can talk to, bounce things on. I've been there, I've seen that, and, just to be there as someone that, if you have a need, basically.
Mm-hmm. So speaking on that, I know that would be a huge part of what you would want your legacy to be.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would want to include in that?
Well, that's pretty much, that would be it. I mean, I want to be known for a person, that goes above and beyond, once again, to get the yes for you. Okay. Now, am I promising the yes? No. Okay. But we work together to go find obstacles to get a win-win. All right. That's always the goal. And that's like a part of my life that I try to do, or whatever I'm doing. I mean, I always get the yes, but I'm going to get the win. And that's my goal to take on to others too. We don't always stop with the no. There's ways of actually getting around things. So I guess I'd kind of like to leave with that. No, I don't have any control of what happens once I'm gone. But if I could leave myself to know what has she done and what is she wanting to do? What is she striving to do? It's this. It's getting the yes or the win-win. Should I say? Because at the end of the day, I need you and you need me. Here to work together to get whatever it is we need to get done together. Okay, and so my legacy would, I'd want to know that she made every effort possible to make sure that she did what she needed to do while she was sitting, while we allowed her to sit in this seat. That's how I look at being a public servant and representing District 3 here and being a county commissioner. I don't take any of these things, basically as a given. I don't go into thinking, people tell you, you've got this election. No, I don't. I got to work my tail off, and it's really hard to do this during the pandemic, to be honest with you. To make sure that people, you resell yourself. you know, to see that, you know, I'm still here. I'm still going to get this job done for you. You know, that's my goal. You know, so yeah, my legacy is that she did everything possible and within her will and her power to work to get the job done to the best of her ability and didn't leave anything behind. That's what I want to leave.
Right. You know, I want people, well, we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but I definitely want people to know that anything that I've ever had going on in the community, or if I ever, you know, needed to sit down and talk with you about something to try to get your perspective or your feedback or help with, you've always been open, you know, to sit down and have a conversation, or, you know, if you needed to make a donation towards something of any of the families in the community, you've always done that, as well as being out and supporting, you know, Black business owners in the community as well. And making sure that you are offering a hand, you know, to essentially help with anything that is needed. I want people to be aware that, yes, you know, you're not just some person that is just out there, you know, in the universe, but no, you're actively involved in working in the community. So I really appreciate you for that. Definitely appreciate you for that.
Well, thank you for this. Like I said, because, you know, this is just another tool, another way of once again, reintroducing myself to people, reminding people of, you know, of why I'm here, what I'm doing, and making myself, like you said, consistently available to anybody that needs me to know that I'm here and I can be reached.
Well, I just want to thank you for being able to take the time to have this chat with me today. Did you want to give anyone that's watching your information as far as social media, or if they like to make any type of donations towards your campaign or anything?
Well, I mean, I will just kind of go into the where I can be reached, basically. I mean, I've got several email addresses. I don't think I can use my county email address, but I can always give my personal email address. That's johnson5343@bellsouth.net. You can call me at my home number is 770-233-4394. Most people know me at the State Farm office. I get calls at my office, 770-228-6164. I promise you I won't try to sell you any insurance. No, I'm not going to promise that. Anyway,
hey, we might need it, you know.
Right. That was on my presentation. But one thing that I failed to, and I was going to have this, and I don't have it with me, but there is a, and I'm definitely going to make sure you get this, but, and you've probably seen it on Facebook, but we call a citizen engagement app. It's a card, and you know that's one thing we've been kind of passing these out. And basically, what it does is if there's anything that you see or you need to have done, like I say, if you're not able, which you should be able to reach me or whomever, or you want to, let's say you take a picture of some trash on the side of the road, or let's say you see a pothole particularly, you know, and you know you can actually have this application downloaded on your phone, and you can send the information into the county, you know, and they'll jump right on it. And you can even let me know that, okay, Rita, I sent this app in. You know, we would like for this to be taken care of. It's just another way of us to be able to take care of the community in a much quicker pace, which is the reason why, you know, we have that. And I'm sorry that I don't have that in front of me today, but I will make sure that you get it, and I'll make sure I share it on Facebook. So anybody that has it, I encourage you to download this citizen engagement application, you know, app that will allow you to send your information in if you see something that needs to be done.
Okay, and I'll make sure I definitely include the information once this is posted, to make sure anyone that has any issues can actually, you know, technology now, it's a thing that can be very, very beneficial when it comes to things like that. So yeah, I'll make sure everyone has that information as well. Is there anything else you can think of that?
Well, just, you know, like I said to my District 3, you know, peeps out there, you know, I'm seeking for your reelection on November 3rd. And if you're not in District 3, I want you to tell your friends in District 3. I mean, you know, I'm in this, you know, for the next long haul, for the next 4 years anyway, to you know, to, like I said, to tie these things up, to get the next person possibly ready to sit at this seat, you know, and to pull the community together. And I want to be able to fill out these next 4 years to say that, you know what, you know, we're ready. The next 4-year terms, when it's over with, we're sitting in a much better place than where we are now. And we've got the right people at the table making the right decisions. So I'm asking for your vote in order to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Johnson. It's always a pleasure to be able to chat with you. I will definitely be making sure I'm pushing people to get to the polls because like you said, we can't afford to sit on the sidelines.
No.
It's just too much at stake at this
Right.
point. So
thank you very much once again for all that you do and continue to do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you so much. You don't know how much.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I try to do whatever it is I can do while I can. That's it.
Great.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm really excited because I have a good feeling about, you know, what's going to happen going into November. So.
Yes. Thank you again. I appreciate you.
All right.
And everybody, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.